I did it too
Yeah.
when I started radio shows, whether it was bad microphones, bad audio, having six people
Woo.
listen to, doing promoting, showing up to a convention, handing out pens and drink koozies and selling T-shirts.
Yeah.
You learn, you observe, you see what other people do, you try to roll with some of those ideas, perfect them, and use all that knowledge to make up your own ideas and make it, something that's a little unique and a business that's really hard to be unique in, because look, wrestling's been around forever. So I mean, how many ideas can you possibly have that nobody's really had before? And then you got to convince everybody that that idea is a good one. So it's not an
Yeah.
easy business, and I give you all the credit. You're doing UWE Elite, doing CTW. Now you with Synergy Wrestling, and I know the co-owners very well, being a sponsor of this show. And
That we do.
actually, Dan was a guy that sat next to me at my first ever big event that I brought guests to, and he shared my tables and set up shop with his merchandise, and I watched him grow from one booth to two booths and pretty much taking over the damn Englishtown flea market. And he's still a sponsor after all these years. He was at big event with me this past March, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Heather. I'm happy for you. And I got to attend my first show in January, and I was happy. What I saw. Jazz was happy, and I'm not an easy guy to impress. I'm very negative when it comes to wrestling, because of not only just WWE, as you heard earlier in the program, just because some of the internet fans think they know everything, and it kind of makes you angry as a promoter that you can never make anybody happy. You kind of get that feel like, what do I have to do to make these freaking people happy? And I got to say, going to that last show, and I was happy. I had a good time. It was a good show. Jazz and Maria put on an awesome match. We sold some
That they
merch.
did.
You guys took care of me, and I couldn't have been happier. And I couldn't have been I can't be right now. I couldn't be any happier about the future of Synergy.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it's the thing that I've learned that I think is the most important. And again, I'm young to this. I'm on the wrong side of 35, but I'm young to this. And I'll tell you, I don't know anything. I don't know anything compared to what the business knows and compared to what the fans as a collective know. So I think where a lot of people fail, and if you want to go out there and your impulse is to you want to prove that you're new and you're fresh and you're smarter, right? That you're going to do something super smart, and people are going to go, Jesus, he's a genius. That guy is, wow, he's super smart. And that's the worst thing you can do. Get a good roster of good talent that gives a shit, that trains, that works out, that cares about their craft, and can wrestle.
Yep.
Get a good roster, care about your creative, and don't treat the fans like they're stupid. Because whether or not you agree with what the fans want doesn't matter. If the fans want something, give it to them. And it's not just saying, like, here's the thing. We'll talk about, you talked a little bit about, like, Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, right? And this is a great example. Kofi Mania is what the fans want. Now, is it just a good idea to see it through to completion? That's not for me to say. Because if the fans get what they want every single time, then this becomes the most predictable business of all time. But there's nothing wrong with listening to people. Like if I've got, let's say, somebody on my roster, I'm just going to pick somebody around, Aaron Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a groundswell of momentum for Aaron Bradley, or people are like, you know what, I really like that dude's work. He's really come around. Why wouldn't I listen to that? Or if I've got Aaron Bradley in a position where I think he's one thing, but the entire crowd is cheering for him, I shouldn't be so stubborn to stick to my thing. if that makes sense.
Right, of course.
I'm trying to dance around it a little bit. But I think there's too many people out there who think they're smarter than everybody else. And I just got to approach the business like I'm stupid. Really,
you have a different
approach
fan
the
base.
business like I'm stupid.
And
let's be honest, it's not hard. I'm very stupid.
You have a different fan
dumb.
base though. Like a lot of shows I go to, you get a lot of smart marks.
Sure.
That attend, 15 independent shows a month. They've seen everybody wrestle 10 times that month.
Sure.
They know everything. They think they know all how booking works, creative works, blah 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 blah.
And to be fair, those people are important too, though.
No, they are.
Like,
I'm not saying they aren't. I'm not saying they aren't. But those are the ones. Those are the ones that are very vocal on the internet, shitting all over other promotions that aren't the cookie cutter, as I call it. The ones that don't run basically the same show every show, and they model it around the same ideas and like the story. There's no storyline. That doesn't carry over from one show to the other. It's just a show. Something happens, and then the following show has nothing to do with the prior show. So those are the ones.
That's not us,
right? And those are the ones that get. Those are the ones that get shit on. Then you have your shows that are pretty much all friends and family, and it doesn't matter what goes on because they're just there to see whoever it is that they know wrestle, and they're always going to clap, and everybody's having a good time. Cheers. You have like a mix of everything. You got your.
Well, that's what we want.
Right.
That's what synergy is. That's legitimately what the definition of the word is that I want to prove, and Dan and Heather, this is the very first conversation that we had, is let's be frank, from a business perspective, why in the hell would we try to start a hardcore deathmatch ultra-violence promotion in New Jersey right now? Why would we do that? That's dumb. GCW and H2O are here, and we'd be out of business in 2 months.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But we also looked around, and we said, with all due respect to other promotions, there's a lot of family-friendly that doesn't use good enough talent.
Right. Or train talent.
We're going to put on a family-friendly show, and we're going to book a bunch of guys who just aren't credible or believable. And that's just going to be what it is. And we tried to set out to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we're PG, and we're going to be unapologetic about that because I want a 75-year-old and a 7-year-old to both have a lot of fun at our shows.
Right.
But I want to prove that I can book that show with a Matt Tremont and a KTB. And, these guys and an Anthony Green, and that you can succeed by putting the best talent in a family-friendly environment.
Right.
Because not everybody's doing that. So that was going to be what our lane was, just because nobody else was really in that lane. It had nothing to do with us thinking we were smarter than anybody. It was just, hey, we probably, as a new promotion, shouldn't really be competing against these people who are already doing X, Y, and Z. Let's do something a little different. Right. Also, I'll be perfectly honest, it was really nice to go to Matt Tremont and say, hey, man, I respect you. I would love to bring you into this company and never ask you to bleed half to death because you can wrestle. And I think that on some level, a guy like Tremont likes coming in and letting people see, this dude can go.
Yep.
He can grab. Like, he can get on the mat and work, and he doesn't need to kill himself every month because everybody else is asking him to die, Yeah. And I would much rather have Matt Tremont in the business when he's 40.
Yep.
So if I'm the guy that helps him preserve that, sure, I'll be that guy. I'd be happy to.
Now, let me prelude into Matt Tremont.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing was it your last show where he was attacked, or was it a?
Yes, it was the last show. There was a triple threat match for the Synergy Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Tremont was our first champion. And then his two opponents were the two men that were in the 2018 match of the year, Drake Chambers and Frightmare, in a ladder match. And about 2 minutes into the match, somebody from the back ran out, masked, and went at Tremont's knee 3 times with an industrial-grade crowbar. And I've yet to figure out who it is. We've eliminated a lot of people, but we've gotten it down to a couple of names, and people still think that we're wrong, and there are conspiracy theories that are coming in from websites and bloggers and Twitter and Facebook, and I'm going to say it right now. I've said it a couple other places. If we don't figure out who it was on Saturday, by Saturday or on Saturday at Synergy 9, I'll quit the company. Because I won't have done my job.
Now,
I told Tremont we'd have an answer by March 30th, and I will.
Now, who are you allowed to say who you think it possibly could be?
Sure, I've got it down to about 4 or 5 people, which is pretty good because the suspect list started at about 20. Anthony Green is a possibility, and I'll explain up front that the people who are suspects for 2 reasons. One, they fit the physical description of the person who attacked Tremont.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, I have no alibi for where they were.
Right.
As Anthony Green, T.J. Crawford, Matt McIntosh, Mike Dell, and Jason Sinclair from the Apostles of Chaos. Now, it's very simple. Anthony Green and T.J. Crawford were in the match following the attack on Tremont. And the only people that Crawford and Green can vouch for is each other. That's not a good enough alibi for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just sounds like you're a co-defendant. You know what I'm saying? Mike Dell, I don't know where he was. I don't know why he would do it. It just doesn't seem... I'm just not ruling him out because he fits the physical description, but he doesn't seem to have a real motive for it.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Green doesn't seem likely, but he's got a motive. Matt Tremont's fiance went into the hospital last November, and that's real life. But as a result, Anthony Green was supposed to get a shot at Tremont's title in November. That match never happened, and now that match isn't going to happen because Tremont's not the champ anymore.
Right.
So does AG have a motive? Yeah, I would say so. But again, does it seem like something that AG would do? I don't know. He seems to want a little bit more credit for everything that he does. You know what I'm saying? So under a mask doesn't really seem like his style.
Right.
That leads me to Matt McIntosh. The guy who attacked Tremont was in Matt McIntosh's mask and denim vest. Now, here's the thing. McIntosh is like, oh, well, it all got stolen out of my gear bag. And part of me goes, bro, you're mean to tell me somebody went into your gear bag and stole your shit without anybody or you seeing them do it and then returned it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just seemed it's too much. Like, I've been in locker rooms. You've been in locker rooms. These dudes guard their gear bags like there's large bills in them.
Well, rightful reasons, too.
Yeah, rightful reasons, for sure. I mean, we've had people steal wallets. We've had people steal money. We've had people steal phones and entire gear bags. And so the fact that a dude who's as accomplished and as well-traveled as McIntosh left his gear bag unattended for a couple of minutes and nobody saw anything happen just doesn't make any damn sense to me. So do I think I know who it is? Yeah. Am I leaning? We're 48 hours before the show. I'm leaning very heavily one way. Mm-hmm. But until I see a couple more things, until I talk to 2 more people, I'm not going to throw a name out there because I just don't want to be wrong. Because let's be real, if I throw a name out there and I'm wrong, Matt Tremont will probably manslaughter the wrong person. So I'm not going to be that guy. Then again, there are people outside the company who think that I'm totally wrong, that Brandon Kirk snuck back in and did this. There are people who think Maria Manick did it, who was in the building. I don't know why she'd do it to Tremont, but they have history. And there are people who think Cody Rhodes did it, for real, after Tremont called him out. They're apparently rumored to have a match. Nobody has said what promotion it's for, and some people seem to think that Cody Rhodes was in our building. I will say this.